Hey everybody, Jim from Jim's Coleus. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you had a great weekend. Here we are, another week in here in New Jersey. We've had such warm weather. It's been like in the 70s. It's sort of like summer's just refusing to go, but it has been getting chillier at night. Last night, the past couple of nights have been pretty cool. Last night felt like we're definitely in fall and winter. Of course, with the time change now, that's it gets dark at 4:30. It's such a tough time of year. But all of my, I'm sure if you're living in New Jersey or you're in a winter zone, all of my outdoor Coleus plants are done. And that's what I'm going to get into today. Your overwintered Coleus and how to take care of them. I don't keep a lot of overwintered Coleus like I used to. I used to really fill up my bay window here with Coleus plants and so forth, but it's a lot of work. I myself, and if you're following along, you know where I'm going. It's just me. I grow 500-600 Coleus, so it takes a lot of work through the spring and summer. So I look at the fall as sort of a time to recharge my batteries and so forth. And now, especially with my eBay, my seed sales, which are doing really, really well. I had a Veterans Day, salute to veterans, special over the weekend. Did pretty well, but doing my seed sales keeps me pretty busy on eBay. It's nowhere near as time consuming and difficult. When I say difficult, I mean putting in the effort to take care of 500 Coleus in a greenhouse. It's hot out during the summertime. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of work when it's just me. So I don't keep a lot of overwintered Coleus. That was really my point before I got off on my tangent. But getting back to my seed sales, Jim's Coleus on eBay, head over. I just listed another 20. I just packed up another 20. I think I have a little over 20. I just have another 20 or so packs. You'll get an envelope like this if you're new here. 6 to 7 specific varieties of Coleus that are featured on my YouTube channel. Kongs, jitters, dark chocolates, colossal marbles, mosaics. I have a handful of Defiance, fishnets, not a lot of. I have a handful of Saturns, but most of the most easy to grow, colorful, just beautiful Coleus seeds. You can get them on my eBay listing. Now, go there now, get your seeds, get them ready to go, because spring will be here before you know it. Get them now. I'm not going to have these forever. Put them in a dark closet or in the refrigerator, and you'll be ready to go in the spring when we start to grow Coleus together. I have a lot of return customers from last year, and I have 100% eBay. I didn't want to make this video is not about my seed sale, but I'm going to promote it because I want to get people into these beautiful plants who are interested, because they are so easy to grow. It's a great thing to get into, not hard. You don't need a green thumb. You don't need to be a horticultural expert. You don't need a test tube to test your soil pH and all that other stuff. You don't need that. With Coleus, I got some really basic principles. Some of them are going to be this video today. So, okay, back on to the subject here. I only have about 5 overwintered Coleus. And last minute, I brought in a Defiance Coleus. So I'm going to basically give you real simple what you need to do to keep your overwintered Coleus going through the spring. Just the basics. And this is what you can expect also from when you bring your Coleus in and so forth. So without further ado, let's get me off the camera and let's get these Coleus on camera, and we'll show you how best to keep your overwintered Coleus going right through the fall. (2022) has been a really tough year. As you know, if you're following along, I had to say goodbye to my beloved Yorkie Newton. I miss him dearly. He was just so much a part of my life. And I had to say goodbye to my sail fin Pleco Hank. but in a different way. He didn't pass away. He didn't die. He was getting a little sick, but he was getting too big. He was 13. It was getting too big for this tank. So I made the decision to give them to a pet store by my house. So I gave them to him to put into a larger tank, and maybe he could sell them to somebody. Sailfin pelicos can get pretty big, as you can see here. Hank is a cool guy. I miss him. I still look over here. So I cleaned the tank out here real good, and we'll see about getting other fish at another time. Okay. All right, so if you're new to my channel, this is my famous bay window. So if you're a subscriber or you've been following along here, yeah, this is it. My bay window. This is a southeast facing window. I have the ocean to the southeast. I don't have high-rise buildings or anything like that obstructing the sun. I get sun all day and evening. This is the perfect place for Coleus to grow. Plants, indoor plants for that matter, they just love this light. It's a surrounding sort of a greenhouse. So what you would consider, and I try to explain this to people, find a location in your home that best mimics what you consider a greenhouse environment. Lots of light, big glass, showers your plants with light. So if you have a dining room window that has big glass windows and you get lots of light in there and it's warm, that's your perfect place to keep your Coleus. So, all right, the main thing, I say number one, there's three. The number one thing really to me over the long haul of overwintering your Coleus is light. Your Coleus will do best if you have as much light as possible, whether it's a bay window or just a bright room like the sunroom, or especially now that we're into winter and the days are shorter, a grow light. These are LED grow lights. There are different types. I like these because they're sort of like spidery and you can adjust them. Here's their LEDs. They're very safe. They're incredibly energy efficient. So you can leave them on and not worry about using a ton of electricity. And they're very, very safe. There's no heat as opposed to the traditional older style greenhouse type incandescent grow lights. If you have them and you have a setup for that, go for it. Not knocking them. It's just for me, I like these LEDs. Make sure they're full spectrum. Full spectrum means all of the colors of light that feed Coleus, that the sun produce, that are essential for photosynthesis. Full spectrum are the reds, the greens, the yellows, the blue spectrums of light. I don't want to get too far into that, but basically get one of these. They have a clip, they have a timer, the intensity, you can shut them off, you can adjust them and so forth. I highly recommend them if you're overwintering your Coleus. I have two of these and I have a larger static one that I hang over my greenhouse. But these are really good. It's a different brand. I got these on Amazon. If you're not sure which one to get, you want these, just shoot me a comment below, and I'll forward you the link to these. They should still be available, this particular brand. If not, one like it, but they're really, really good. Very, very bright, and they really do the trick. So get yourself an LED grow light to supplement your Coleus, your overwinter Coleus. Because again, it starts to get dark here at 4 o'clock, and these are used to getting light up till 8, 9 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock. So that combined with the cold really will work against your chances of keeping your Coleus going. And that leads me to the next, warmth. It's great to be in the house. It's nice and warm here. Got the heat register going. Keeps these nice and toasty warm, 72. I don't like it too hot in the house, so I keep it at like 68, 70. But one thing about winter and indoor heat is it's dry. And Coleus do not like that. Although they do like, some argue that Coleus don't like humid conditions, which is funny because they're tropical plants. There we go. They're tropical plants, but they don't like saturated, weight down, humid weather. And I've mentioned that in the past that they really seem to thrive on that. So I don't know where they got that from, because during the summer when we get those moist, rainy, stifling, humid, disgusting spider web crawling all over your body type humid nights, they seem to do real well. So, but anyway, I got off on a tangent there. I'm sorry. I guess it was the leftover Halloween mentality, but okay. So just be careful with the dry heat. These are right near a heat register. So I got light, I got heat. It's going to dry out. They're going to dry out fast, especially these little pots. So I water these every other day. I water them on the top, and I have the trays, and I'll give them water on the bottom. So just be careful about that. Keep that in mind, that indoor winter heat is very drying. And if you have pots like these, they're going to tend to dry out quick. So make sure you give them water. Don't overwater them. If you're not sure, if you think you're overwatering them, skip a day or two. They're not going to die if you skip 2 days. And I recommend that. Get used to the weight of your pot. Move it around. Get used to the weight. Dig down. If it looks dry up top here, but you dig down and it's still moist there and you're not sure, then skip a day. Or give it a little bit of water. Don't saturate it, but every once in a while, I'll give it enough water that it'll run down the bottom. Because there's a lot of roots, especially these. If your Coleus have been in a little pot like this for 6 to 8 months, like this one has, then you can be sure that that whole pot is filled with roots. So you want to make sure that all of the roots get moisture. And you do that by bottom watering and making sure that you give it enough water. So keep up when you're watering. Make sure that your pots are drained, and you can't go wrong. Okay, a couple of other points. You will find that you will lose stems. It just happens. It's part of having overwintered Coleus, no matter how healthy your plant is. I expect by the spring that a good portion, not all, but I may lose 40% of these stems. I may not. It depends on the Coleus, but based on my experience before, this is what happens eventually. They'll die. You'll end up, some of the stems may die. Cut them. Cut the ones that have died. Cut the ones that have died, and don't get discouraged. This is kind of drooping. These are older, but I got lots of growth. Still some growth coming in. This window again gives lots of light. Even though it's still getting a lot of growth, you may look and notice that some of this new growth is not quite as vibrant and rich as when they were outside, like this photo. That's another thing with your overwintered Coleus is, even though they're getting that light and stuff, and even with grow lights, it's not summer, and they're going to thin out. They're going to almost look translucent. They're not going to be as vibrant. They're not going to grow as fast. They'll grow. You'll see growth. You see this new growth here. You'll see that, but it's not going to be as fast as being outside in the summertime in the perfect conditions. So expect that with your Coleus. Cut any kind of leaves that look kind of like they're dying. These are curling down. They're just these are old. That's some of the older ones. I will cut that. I'm going to cut that. Make sure your soil is clean. You're always going to have some foliage as far as, dead leaves and so forth falling down. Make sure you don't see any. Make sure there's no insects here. You shouldn't have any insects, but if you do, use the insect spray soap. You can still use that indoors. Just be very careful because it's pungent. So make sure you open a window. Whatever, you don't want to breathe that in. It's not toxic necessarily, but it's just very strong. So expect that. Expect your leaf loss, molting. Expect your foliage to become less vibrant, almost translucent, and expect them to not grow as fast. Okay, just an update. Here's those other Coleus. They're still growing, but they're very slow. Because even though at the heat register and so forth here, I'm not hitting them with grow lights or whatever. That I generally don't grow Coleus by seed. I mentioned it in my last video. So we'll let these grow. They're still coming in. We'll let them go. But I don't generally grow Coleus from seed this time of year. So, but it's going. Just, again, once you start to see your cotyledons, those are the little radar dishes come in, loosen the plastic off, but don't remove it. You still want to save a lot of the moisture, and that plastic will maintain some of the soil moisture. And just drop a teaspoon or so of water on there if you think that they might be drying out a little bit, and they'll do fine. But they may, if you're growing Coleus from seed and you're in a winter zone, it's going to be slower than during the spring and so forth, when the days are getting lighter and so forth. It's just not the same. That's why I really don't grow them during the off season. So feeding, I don't go crazy with fertilizer with these overwintered Coleus. These are good to do. I'll put two or three in a pot like this size, maybe two. These are the food spikes, and they'll feed as you water. And that's it. Don't go crazy fertilizing these over the winter. Same here. I put one in there. And I think I put two in there. Here I put like maybe 4 or 5. Because this is a real complicated, this is a complex Coleus. It's got a lot going on. Beautiful, beautiful Coleus. Beautiful Darth Vader Coleus. I do have some seeds on my I do have some Darth Vader seeds on my Jim's Coleus listing, but you really need to ask for them. I don't include them automatically. I only have a handful of them. When I say handful, several hundred, maybe 1,000 or so. But I don't list them. I don't list them, advertise them. I don't include them unless you ask for them. So, but this is a complicated plant. It's really established, lots of foliage. We'll let that go out here. We're going to get some seeds off of that. Even though it's indoors, it's flowering, it's not getting pollinated, they will still be viable seeds. So, Darth Vader Coleus. All right, so I hope this video helped you out. Any questions on overwintering Coleus, you know where to get me. Leave a comment here or follow me on Instagram, Jim's Holiest of Coleus on Instagram. Follow along, and that's the best place to keep in touch with me. If you have some photos, you have some issues with your Coleus, and it's hard to describe. Sometimes it's hard to answer questions. A lot of them are general, and there's so many other things I may need to know about to answer correctly, and I try to answer as best I can. If I don't have the right answer, I'm not going to just give you something out of the thin air. I'll either research it and get back to you to make sure that I give you the best information. But on Facebook too, I'm not on Facebook as much as Instagram. Even though Facebook Meta owns Instagram, I touched on this, that Instagram is, for me, is an easier, more interesting platform. I enjoy it a lot more than Facebook. So if you can, leave a comment below. If you have any questions, head over to Instagram, follow along there. Anytime you need any assistance in Coleus or so, that's the place. Or here to shoot me out a question or so. Again, head over to Jim's Coleus on eBay. I got my Coleus seeds listed. This is what you'll get. You'll get a stamped pouch with a fancy wax seal, a pouch full of at least 6 varieties. Just for an example, here's a Jitters. You'll get 6 varieties that are in Ziploc baggies. I don't know if how well this shows up, but you'll get about this many seeds. I put them in these Ziploc bags because there's a little bit of seed chafe, and the static cling from this Ziploc baggies holds that seed chafe, but you can clearly see your seeds. You'll get 6 marked varieties of the Coleus seeds that I feature on my Coleus channel. The most popular, easy to grow, just beautiful, beautiful Coleus on my eBay listing, Jim's Coleus. So thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it was helpful. Another thing too, getting back to my Jim's Coleus, I reached a top seller rating, and I did that because I get your seeds out right away. When you buy my seeds, unless they came in overnight at 2 a.m., I get them out the same day. So you get your seeds. They're not going to be sitting here for 3 days. I pack them up and ship them right out the same day, and you get them. So I got top eBay seller rating because of that, and other. I have 100% rating, 100% people satisfied with my Coleus seeds. I get a very, very high rating on their fresh seeds, and the people are very, very, all my customers. And I had a lot of repeat sales from last year, which really goes well. And again, lastly, before we close, a portion of all my sales, seeds, Instagram, seeds, YouTube sales are going to go to different organizations. I have a USO fund drive going on right now on Instagram. So thank you very much. Either directly donate or just your purchase will go towards that as well. So thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.